You asked, and they listened. There are so many cool new things in this upcoming new version of Luminar Neo. It might just blow your mind. It blew me away. I knew a couple were coming, but wow, when I got the beta and started playing around with this a few weeks ago, I'm not exaggerating. I was like, oh my gosh, I think this is the biggest, coolest, most awesome update to Luminar Neo ever. The update is version 1.19.0. It's being announced today, but it's becoming available on April 25th. So we don't have it yet. It's not publicly available, but it's going to be. I'm going to go through what's in it. I'm going to show you these new features. And if you don't leave excited, I don't know what to do with you because this is really cool stuff and I love it. So here we go. There is a new logo. Just note that. That is the new Luminar Neo logo, which, hey, guess what? Matches the iPad app logo. Coming April 25th, right? So what's included? Look at this list of features, my friends. Water Enhancer AI. That was talked about and announced a long time ago, a year ago. I don't even remember how long ago. It's here. It's cool. I'm going to show it to you. Twilight Enhancer AI. I just get excited. I get kind of tingly. This is so much fun. It's like for those magic hours. I'm going to show you. It's awesome. Luminosity masking. Hallelujah. I've been asking for this for ever. I mean, I'm not kidding. I've been asking for so long. And when I heard they were going to have it, when I started playing with it, I was so excited, so happy. Object Select AI. It's a new masking tool that allows you to point and click, select objects, boom, mask automatically. It's wicked cool. Batch processing in HDR merge. Every time I do an HDR merge video, which is reasonably often because I love it, I think it's the best extension in Luminar. Every time I do it, people are going to say, or people do say, hey Jim, does it have batch processing or when's it going to get it? Well, now it's got it. It's coming April 25th. You can also turn off the dynamic background, which is like the background in the app. It looks a little bit like the photo. You can turn that off, which I did. There's a new landscape category. They kind of reorganized some things. And there's some UI changes and a rebranding that's going on, as you know, because I've already told you about the new logo. So these are some photos I'm going to walk through. But first, I want to show you if you want to change the background, you can go to Luminar Neo and settings. And it's right down here where it says dynamic background on or off. I turned it off and now I have a solid background. Now there are some other UI changes and that sort of thing. You can see export's a little bit different. There's some things that are different up here, like this drop down menu is here now. But what I want to do is start diving into these features because they're super cool and I love them and I think you're going to love them as well. So every one of these photos is a JPEG. I took some spots out. I fixed the light. I balanced it out. So it's edited in terms of the light, but I haven't done anything with color and all that. And that's what we're going to walk through in this video. So let's take a look at Water Enhancer. Here's this new landscape category. It's got the stuff in it that you would kind of expect for landscapes. Twilight Enhancer is there. We're going to show you that in a minute. And Water Enhancer, which is what I'm doing right now. So this automatically identifies the water in a photo. You can adjust it if you need to, and it gives you the ability to play with the colors. So I have a nice little stream here that I shot in Arizona a long time ago, and I'm going to go ahead and just drag the amount so you can see it. Well, you will notice there's some spots here. As I hover, I get that overlay, which is beautiful. Well, I can go over here to Refine area. I'm on Draw, and I can just come in here and paint in on top of those empty spots. And that is specifically why I use this photo, because it did not get every single bit of water. I can come in here and I just lifted up my mouse. I'm moving it around again and I'm doing a sloppy job masking, but we're all friends here, so I'm okay with that, and hopefully you are as well. But you can see I've added blue to it. Now, you want to be careful with this, and this is the delicate dance that I always talk about in editing, but you can add blue, you can also add green, and so you can get some nice color combos that look like really natural water. And then of course you have this original color slider. We can just start dragging back the original color of the water. So I started like that, and now I have that, a little bit bluer, a tiny bit of green, but some of that original color bleeding back through. I think it helps you make a really natural result really quickly. Now, as you can see, you can also play with brightness and contrast. So you have further ways to come in and refine the overall look of the water in your photo. And you know, I'm playing with those right now just to give you an idea, but you can see quickly and easily water before and water after. Now, by the way, if you don't have Luminar Neo yet, check the link down below. It is an affiliate link, and you can use coupon code Gymnix15 to save 15% on your purchase. Now, what I want to do is show you the Twilight enhancer. I'm going to pop over to this photo, shot in Iceland on the last Luminar photo tour last August. Beautiful sunset. I adjusted the light, no work on color here. I basically made that inside the back of this waterfall brighter, left the sky as is. Twilight enhancer. Here we go, my friends. Uses some AI to figure out how to adjust twilight colors, to create really twilight colors. And in fact, you have some presets here. There's golden, blush, emerald, mauve, and blue. To be clear, I'm going to come back and walk through in more depth all of these features, but I do want to point out I have a beta copy still. This is 2 weeks before release date, so things may change. If you see anything when you get the copy of it that's a little bit different, it's because I have a beta and everything probably isn't totally perfectly finalized, but we're that close, right? So I'm going to go ahead and go with the mauve overall look, and you can see it's defaulting to 70, which is really too much for me. There we go. And I would pull that down quite a bit, but you can get an idea of what it's doing to the colors. You can see the preset in this dropdown has all these different sections. So the temperature in the sky, I can make that warmer, or I can make that cooler. I can also adjust the tint if I'd like to. Maybe, I always do, maybe I want a little bit more of that kind of magenta look in my sky. Now, dawn represents kind of that golden warmth that comes at sunrise, and so you can come in here and play with the size, and this is just adjusting the amount and the size of that golden look as well as the temperature. So it gives you a little bit more control over the overall look of the color there, not to mention the exposure. The scene section is going to play with the overall look and kind of the blend of how everything comes together. And so you can see a little bit brighter as I go left, a little bit darker and a little bit more moody perhaps as I go to the right. You can play with saturation there, and you even have the ability to relight a human. These humans are not going to show up because they're too far away. There's also water reflection and mask refinement, which you may recognize these sliders being very similar to the ones that are in the sky replacement tool. So let me go ahead and close that tool and go back to the normal look. And let's say I didn't want to use that tool. I wanted to control colors myself and do my own thing and take control. But I really just want to put that in the sky and maybe some of the water. Luminosity masking, my friends. Luminosity masking. It's here. I love it. And if you have Lightroom and you use luminosity masking, or what they call luminance range masking in Lightroom, you're going to know this tool already. It's super easy and super powerful. If you don't know what a luminosity mask is, it's a mask based on light values. This visual I'm about to give you is going to show you. Click on masking. You can see the new tools here. There's luminosity mask and there's object select. We'll do that one in a minute. I'm going to focus on luminosity masking. By the way, all these masking tools are also in layer properties, so you can use them on layers as well. I'm going to click on luminosity, and you'll think, hey, it didn't do anything. Where's the mask, Jim? Well, here's this section. It says select luminance. The left is the shadows or the dark areas, and the far right, of course, is the brighter, the highlights. And there's a range of tones in between there. And so what you do is you grab this bar, and you can see as soon as I start grabbing it, it starts refining the mask. And you can see the red overlay represents the mask. So keep that in mind, because what I'm doing is I'm dragging this bar, which is representing my tonal values that I want in the mask. I'm dragging it closer to highlights and further away from shadows, which means, as you can see visually, all the darker areas that were in shadow are no longer covered by the mask because I'm moving away from it. Now, you can compress this as much as you want to just get a tiny bit of those highlight tones, or you could do the whole thing. You don't really need to. No sense in using a mask at that point. But you can do this. You can also grab this entire bar. Oh, by the way, you can also compress from the other side. So I don't want it like that. I'll show you what I do want in a minute, but you could do that. And then you can also just kind of slide this around to find the right tonal areas. Hey, do you see that? I'm really focused on the darker areas there, so I'm just getting kind of more of the foreground area. But you can move that around. In this case, I want to have more of the highlights. And so I'm going to come back to where I was, which is something like this, covering a lot of the highlights. But you will notice there's also this little triangle down here. This triangle is your fade, or kind of your blend. And what you do is you grab that triangle, and once you grab it, you can separate it from that bar. And when you do, you can see it's fading that effect more gently. And so it's kind of your transition, or your like your gradient. And so after you've done that, you can still move this and you can refine that mask even further. And if you can't tell, I'm creating a mask that's pretty finely attuned to the light parts of the photo, which is the sky and the waterfall. And I've got a nice fade here that's going to allow my effect, what I'm going to do with these color tools, to fade into that. So that is a beautiful luminance mask or luminosity mask. It's done, and now we can go in and make my adjustments. I want to do brilliance and warmth, and I'm just kind of sliding these for fun. I'm going to do a little cooler, a little warmer on the warm tones, a little cooler on the cools, maybe put a little bit of magenta in the highlights. And all of this is only impacting the areas that apply to the mask. So if you look at the before and the after, it's just the sky and the waterfall. None of the rock or the ground is affected because my luminosity mask allowed me to control that. This is my favorite masking tool, probably I've ever used in any product. I've been using it in other products for years, and I've been begging because this was in Luminar 3 for sure. Pretty sure it was in Luminar 4, but we've been missing it, and we got it, and I am super happy. I'm going to come back and do more about this, but that's how it works. And if you're not excited about that, I give up, because this is exciting, fun stuff. But most importantly, it's super useful, and it gives you incredible control, and I love that. Okay, friends, now we're jumping into Object Select AI Mask. And so I've got a church here, again, from Iceland, shot on one of the Luminar camps. And I'm going to go into Object Select AI, and you give it a minute, and it looks like it's highlighted the whole photo, which it has. You can subtract if you want to, but I'm going to come in, I'm in Add, and all you do is you hover, and you'll notice it's picking things up. Now, on structures like this, did you notice, like there, it's just getting the window. If I go there, it just gets the roof, but it's usually, if you hover and slow down, it'll pick up an entire object. Once you do that, you just click and you've connected or selected it, and there we go, my mask is applied, and it's nearly perfect. I mean, there's a tiny bit around those edges, and it did not get the top of the weather vane. I don't need the top of that weather vane for this adjustment, but what I want to do is I want to just increase the contrast and make that black church really black, but in doing so, I want to also lift the highlights and the whites so that the doors and the windows really pop. And so higher contrast, maybe I'll pull down the blacks, and I've just created a really defined mask around that church. And even those little edges that I said that you couldn't quite tell that it didn't get, you definitely can't tell in the edit. So if you look at the before and the after, I've got a beautiful, beautiful selection. But there's another selection type that people have been asking for a long time. And while I'm not a wildlife photographer, when I see rock star horses in Iceland, I get the camera out, and we were all super excited to meet these young horses. But let's say I want to select some wildlife in my photos. Well, Object Select AI can work on that too. I come in and I want to select this horse. Boom, I've got that horse selected, and I'm ready to go edit. Now, keep in mind, it's not perfect. You can see all these little stray hairs, and there's tiny little fuzz along the edges and a fuzz on the ear and the tiny tip of the ear. In fact, I just clicked there. I just added the tip of the ear. That's pretty cool. I didn't even know that. I'm going to try that up here. Look at that. I just added that tip. We're learning together, my friends. The point is, you can now edit wildlife, because maybe I want to just lift the exposure on this little cute pony. And there we go. I'm just dragging that slider to the right. And in fact, I'll just drag it a bit too much, just to show you that you can, get a nice little impact on a photo. Maybe I'll add a little bit of contrast. And let me show you the before and after. Before and after. Prior to having this tool, you had to use a brush, and you had to paint and paint and paint and then erase, because I don't know about you, but I fat finger these things all the time, and they go over the edges, and I'm like, did you see how easy that was? So now you can quickly and easily identify objects in photos, mask them like that, and go about it. And here we go. Now we're going to talk about HDR batch processing. So I've got a bunch of brackets here that I took at the same time and the same morning in a row, basically, in Iceland. So I've got these photos, and if you'll notice over here in HDR Merge, it says drag from 1 to 1,000 photos here to start. I don't know about you, but my computer is 4 years old. If I put 1,000 photos, it's going to blow up. I'm not doing that, but I've got, 15 or something. I'm going to drag them over here. I do have 15. You have the same menu here, right? Auto alignment, chromatic, reduction, ghost reduction, pick whatever you like. Don't hit merge, hit batch processing. And when you do that, I'm going to go ahead and click that. I'm not going to actually do the batch processing because it'll take too long, but I want to show you it's grouping them based on the brackets, and it figured it out. But I've got some where I kind of I do this sometimes. I was clicking a button, we were in a tight space, and I was like this. So I've got like 2 of the same. I can just delete that if I don't need it. And I can say, oh, you know what? This one, that needs to go up there. So you can move things around. Oh, hey, you know what? It looks like I fat fingered that and I got 2 of the same. I'm going to move this up there. That looks like the right set of brackets, and I've got 2 of these. Let me delete that. So I just just to clarify, you can move these around. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different sets of 3. So now I have 4 different photos, right? 12 exposures. All I got to do is hit continue. It'll go through, batch process these. It'll dump them all in your HDR merge folder, all in a row, and then you can just go about your editing there individually or with presets or whatever you may do. The point is, we've all been asking for HDR processing or batch processing, I should say, for a long time. And while it's not something I do a lot, it can come in really handy in a situation like this where I have multiple photos of this same sunrise in an ice cave, just a few moments apart, slightly different angles, slightly different looks, and I want to crank them all out and get them done so that I can then have my base HDR to go play with. This is a way to do it. So that, my friends, is a quick first look at what's coming on April 25th, Luminar Neo 1.19.0. It is the best update ever, I think. I mean, between Water Enhancer, which is awesome, I'm having fun, Twilight Enhancer, which is amazing, Luminosity masking, which you already know is my favorite thing, Object Select AI, my next favorite thing, batch processing in HDR. There's so many cool new things coming. I think you're going to love it, my friends. I'm excited to make more videos, which are going to be coming soon. So I'm going to start diving into each of these tools in subsequent videos. So if you haven't subbed to my channel yet, do that now. I'll be back really soon with more. Leave comments, questions down below. Thanks for watching, my friends. Appreciate it. You guys take care. I'll see you in the next one really soon. And until then, adios.